Asmongold. Do you know what's happening with him?
I don't necessarily. I mean, I heard he got canceled for something. I haven't been looking at it.
So a recap on Asmon. Twitch streamer, one of the more popular Twitch streamers, puts all the stuff on YouTube. As far as I can tell, it seems to have a team of slobs who put up clips, and there's a YouTube channel like Asmongold TV, and famous for, I think, providing like semi-balanced takes on things. Like he's very, I've now watched a fair amount of him. I got kind of sucked into it because we did a video about his messy room and just how disastrous his house was. He sort of became his brand that he was living like an animal. And I remember when we talked about it, I was like, oh, what is this? Like streamer chic? You know, like is he wearing filth as a costume? Like, what is this shit? And we had John on, who's also a hoarder and who also was like, just get it made. It just never really bothered me because my breathing is fine. If someone tried to clean my house, they'd need a mask. Yeah. Oh my God.
my mess isn't bad because my breathing is fine.
This must be a bit, right? This can't be real.
I've since learned a lot, which is, it's his childhood home. He and his mom were basically besties. He's still very close with his dad too, but they divorced at some point. And she was, the way he describes it, she was basically living like a college freshman her whole life. So she was like a chronic smoker. She was obese. You know, she had all these preconditions that turned into conditions, and he ended up like having to take care of her for many years. But they were kind of like more bros than they were, parent and son. A series of really hard things happened to him. Like she had an oxygen tank. She accidentally lit herself on fire once. Because she was smoking.
They pretty much told me and my dad that she had end-stage COPD. That had nothing really to do with the burns. Like, she was in critical condition before that fire even happened. We all agreed that if she went on that ventilator, she'd probably just never come off of it. And I couldn't really bear to put her through that.
And when she passed, he obviously took it really hard. She was at the center of his life. And it's kind of obvious that there's some psychological trauma that surrounds her and surrounds the house. He's an interesting character in a lot of ways. Like, he's always stayed away from drugs and alcohol himself, while at the same time, like, he goes all out with things like fast food, soda. They're a chronic soda drinker.
It's better. Wow. Who the fuck drinks this shit? Yeah, just
he says he treats some people treat their body like a temple. He treats it like a zoo. He's got a lot of really amusing opinions about fast food. Like he'll sit there and stream a video about like upcoming changes to McDonald's in 2025, and he'll kind of roast like, or he'll pontificate about like what how much of the service experience will be AI. You know that like little guy that does fast food reviews? You ever see him? He dresses up in a suit.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Oh yeah, Review Bra or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he was eating like the Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets, I think it was. And Asmon, it was just so clear he had such a loving relationship with the spicy chicken nuggets. So he's just sitting there watching this dude review them. And he's just kind of like smiling in bliss, like nodding along, like, yes.
Wendy's has brought back their spicy chicken nuggets. I can't help it.
So he's a little bit of a trash goblin.
Total trash goblin. And yeah, I mean, the house is just a complete, I mean, there's mold everywhere. There's animals, that dead animals and this kind of thing. I mean, it's just really, it's reality TV show stuff.
The thing is, I used to use a dead rat as an alarm clock, actually, for my stream, because basically what happened was, whenever the sun would come up, it would start cooking the corpse of the rat, and then it would start smelling again, and then the smell would wake me up.
He, through maybe the insufficient parenting of his mom, grew up with like a stilted idea of what life is supposed to be. And recently he put up, before the cancellation, he put up a video called Why I've Been Living Like an Animal for the past however many years. And he talks a little bit about his mom. He talks a little bit about his scarcity mentality. because he's now a millionaire, but he doesn't spend any of it. He spends like none of his money. He still chases deals. He's still a bargain hunter.
There's like 3 people ahead of me, so I really fucking hope they have free nuggets, because, I mean, like, I'm not gonna wait here for, like, not free nuggets. It's like a whole dollar I'm gonna waste.
He talked about some weird stuff, like about when he was young, he would ideate about violence, or he tried to stab somebody one time, or he had no vision for his own life. He expected he'd be killing himself post high school. For
Wow.
instance. Yeah. So I didn't know about any of that. I think he's a really well-spoken guy. Generally speaking, I think that he has like pretty sound reasoning about things. There's almost like a Gilbert Grape thing going on here. So he's growing up in these, really, like, to say the least, modest situation while being, I think of pretty high IQ.
Right.
So I guess as the story goes, he discovered World of Warcraft and he basically put off suicide. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, just hearing you say, yeah, it makes you wonder, like, how many guys with no vision for their lives found World of Warcraft or an MMORPG and like put a pause on whatever was, for better or worse, like, like whatever plans or non-plans they had for their lives, their whole lives became the MMO.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just hijacks your reward systems, and you just are on that machine. You're on it, and it is pleasurable. It's very pleasurable. I played EverQuest was my drug.
Something that drives us to, like, I got to go chop a bunch of wood. And, like, I've seen my dad do this, or other, like, my neighbor does this too, where they just stockpile shitloads of firewood, and it's totally irrational. There's nobody's using this firewood for, like, nobody even has wood stoves. Like, makes no, it's just some kind of productivity drive. It's some kind of reward system, like you said. And the video game just takes that lizard brain thing that we do, that if I just work a little harder, I can get the next reward, and then I can have the next thing and whatever. And it simulates it. Yeah, you can easily get sucked into that. And people who aren't honest with themselves will say, no, it's just how I like to spend my time. And people who are honest with them, I've met lots of people who are honest with themselves, and they'll be like, yeah, that's me. That's why I get sucked into it for hundreds of hours when I shouldn't, is because it feels like productivity. To my brain, it feels like I'm actually accomplishing things.
Yeah, it feels so good, especially in MMO. You're playing with real people too, so there is a social aspect, so that feels good too.
Yeah, so he finds World of Warcraft. He starts streaming. He goes on Twitch. He becomes a success, and his whole life. So he had said, like, before that, he at least would go outside. He'd see some people, whatever. That goes to 0 hours now. If he's just inside all the time, the house becomes more of a disaster. He's taking care of his mom for a period of time. She passes about 3 years ago. He'll watch political debates. He'll watch the RNC. He'll watch the DNC. He'll watch special appearances on Joe Rogan, or, like, a lot of hot button stuff. In fact, the first time I ever saw him, I even became aware of his existence, was, I think, during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I remember YouTube was pumping me with 20-second clips of him going, "What?"
Wow.
Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater face for property?
Wow.
Service in this matter.
Wow.
Okay. Just,
Wow. Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. Wow.
I thought he was just an obnoxious, annoying guy, and maybe to some he still is.
This is fake. No, there's one thing I would disagree with on this. This is fake. Nope, not true.
But I find when I watch these longer form stuff, especially the more charming stuff, like about fast food and about, whatever. I guess he's pretty spot on about fast food too. Like, like he'll talk about, like, the science behind the McDonald's drive-thru and how they've totally innovated the drive-thru as compared to other places.
McDonald's drive-thrus are next fucking level. They have the best drive-thrus.
Like, politically, he strikes me as moderate.
Yeah.
He's definitely was an atheist, continues to mostly be an atheist. He's definitely like a free speech guy. He's definitely like a pro-porn guy. There's all kinds of liberal aspects. I often, like, if I'm watching him watch a political thing, the whole time he's going like, she's right. That's true. She's got a point.
She's right. She's, you know what? That's fucking based. Absolutely.
To me, that he strikes me as a moderate person. I think that the internet that hates him considers him to be like hey, your whole audience is right-wing incels and this kind of thing.
I think the reason why I have a lot of right-wing people in my chat is because I don't ban them. Most other chats, you get banned for having a lot of right-wing opinions, and I don't ban them. So it would logically make sense that they would come to my chat because they wouldn't get banned here.
Even though it's like, this is definitely a moderate person, you know, like he goes out of his way to, I think, to like, to say that somebody has a good point or like, that somebody, you know, their marketing was really good, or because he'll talk about that too, like, oh, that was actually really good marketing, or that was really good phrasing.
Sounds like he's very good at like kind of removing even himself from it and seeing it objectively.
I think that's his appeal, actually. You know, like I've watched him react to TikTokers are talking about like anti-work stuff, let's say, or people who are struggling with the, you know, economically, and he'll talk about how companies work and how layoffs work and how organizations work. And I know this guy's never worked for anything like that. He has no firsthand experience, and yet everything he's saying is like pretty spot on with my experience. I'm like, wow, you've either read about this or inferred it or something, but you're pretty spot on. Okay, so that leads us to the unfortunate recent event. So I guess he was watching something related to Palestine, Israel. One of the hardest topics on the internet.
Yeah, not easy.
Not easy. Yeah, I think I'd stay away from it. But yeah, because look, it's a war, man.
Yeah, it's a war, and
so I guess Asman is on the side of Israel. I mean, well, I guess it sure would seem to be the case that he's on the side of Israel, because he went on some kind of rant on one of his streams where he was like, you know, Palestine would do the exact same thing to Israel if it had the chance. If only it had the chance, it just doesn't have the chance. October 6th proves that it's a terrorist culture. It's an inferior culture. I have no sympathy. You know, if they're being genocided, I have no sympathy. And I remember I read it on Reddit first, or I saw it shared around, and it said something like Asmongold says that Palestine should be genocided. And I was like, that can't be true. Like, I've listened to too much of the guy. There's no way. He's like, hey, I think genociding a group of people would be a good idea. And then I listened to the clip, and that's what he said. Yeah.
These people would be the ones doing the genociding if they had the power. If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people.
It's not as shocking as you want it to be for what a statement that is.
Yeah, that's a little bit of the Joker thing. Like, you get what you deserve or whatever. You know, that kind of sounds like that. It's
the natural result of what we do in these political arguments, which is we like just keep reinforcing our own perspective, and we just keep convincing ourselves we're the good guys. And we, you know, and then like one day you're saying like, hey, if you get genocided, that's your fucking problem. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
This is a human being. He's like, you know, being killed by the tens of thousands. Like, holy shit. And then about a day or two later, Asman did a big apology video. And, you know, I think the apology video is worth a look, because I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. He frames it as like, listen, I don't really believe that that words matter. I think actions matter. So you're going to have to just like take my word for it that I'm apologetic, but you're going to see action after this. And it came off genuinely authentic, in as much as he didn't go all the way back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm just wrong about everything. He's like, I have a perspective. And he even said, like, I don't think I was coming from a place of racism, but I do think I was coming from this place of assholishness where I completely lost myself. And he goes, and now that I have time to reflect on it, I'm realizing, and I've been realizing for a little while now, that I'm becoming a bigger asshole as time goes on.
Whenever I categorize everybody in the area as this like group, then I'm the asshole.
It was kind of cool to see somebody be like, I'm becoming a dick. If only we could all catch ourselves in those moments of like, okay, I'm becoming a bigger dick, and I shouldn't be, and I don't, you know, and obviously a good reason to apologize is because you said a horrible thing about a group of people. Another reason to be apologetic about having said that is because you lose your own humanity when you flippantly say a group of people should be genocided. You know,
yes,
you lose yourself.
And that's why Joker 2 is actually a good movie.
I certainly think so. But Jesus,
Oh. Never mind.
So he releases that apology. I think it really was. It felt like an authentic apology to me because he got a banned on Twitch for 2 weeks, and he's like, I'm going to use the opportunity to scale back my operation because I'm spending 16 hours a day streaming or something, and it's just too fucking much. It's my life has been consumed by streaming. And he's like, I got outside for the first time in a long time, and most importantly, he cleaned a whole lot of his house. A whole lot of his house, yeah. And you can see before and after pictures. I mean, it still looks like a sty, but there's not stuff everywhere. So then he came back and he after 2 weeks, and he was like, I had a great 2 weeks. It's been relaxing. I've been taking a big step back. This is like one of the best things that ever happened to me, And so I'm rooting for this guy. I think he's an interesting character in the online story. And I hope he's real about how not just that like this will be like a sobering reminder for him to not say crazy things, but for everybody who follows him, for everybody who can learn something from his situation. And also more than that he can figure out how to balance and scale back what, all of his online work that he's doing that's causing this to perpetuate.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh, wow.
Just,
wow. Oh, wow. Like, oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Oh, wow.
Just
wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
Service in this matter.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Holy shit. Wow.
To
wow.
property.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater...
Wow. 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 Yeah.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.